In the annals of history, certain creations stand as stark reminders of humanity's capacity for both innovation and destruction. The Tsar Bomba, the most powerful nuclear weapon ever detonated, is one such creation. This monstrous device, a product of the Cold War's feverish arms race, serves as a chilling testament to the destructive power we hold. On October 30, 1961, over the desolate landscape of Novaya Zemlya, a remote Arctic archipelago, the Soviet Union unleashed this terrible force upon the world. The Tsar Bomba, also known by its official designation in 602, was a thermonuclear bomb of staggering proportions and unparalleled destructive power. The name Tsar Bomba, meaning Emperor Bomb, was a portent. This behemoth dwarfed all previous nuclear weapons in sheer size and destructive potential. Its yield, estimated at 50 megatons of TNT, was equivalent to 50 million tons of exploding dynamite. This made it thousands of times more powerful than the bombs that had devastated Hiroshima and Nagasaki just 16 years prior. The detonation of the Tsar Bomba was more than just a test. It was a thunderous statement of Soviet military might. It sent shockwaves rippling across the globe, both literally and figuratively. Its legacy continues to resonate today, a stark reminder of the terrifying power we hold in our hands. To understand the genesis of the Tsar Bomba, one must delve into the tumultuous waters of the Cold War. Following World War II, a new global conflict emerged. The United States and the Soviet Union, former allies against Nazi Germany, found themselves locked in an ideological struggle for world dominance. This rivalry, fueled by mistrust and competing ideologies, manifested in a relentless arms race. Both superpowers poured vast resources into developing ever more powerful weapons, each striving to outdo the other in a deadly game of one-upmanship. Nuclear weapons, with their terrifying destructive potential, became the ultimate symbol of power and a key element in this dangerous game. By the late 1950s, the Soviet Union had made significant strides in its nuclear program. The successful test of its first atomic bomb in 1949 had shattered the U.S. monopoly on nuclear weapons, ushering in an era of heightened anxiety and competition. The development of the Tsar Bomba was in many ways a culmination of this rivalry. It was a physical manifestation of the Soviet Union's desire to showcase its military prowess and assert its position on the world stage. The Tsar Bomba, therefore, was more than just a weapon. It was a potent symbol of the Cold War. It embodied the fear, paranoia, and relentless pursuit of power that characterized that era. Its creation and detonation serve as a chilling reminder of the fragility of peace and the ever-present threat posed by nuclear weapons. The Tsar Bomba was a marvel of engineering, albeit one designed for destruction. Its creation was a testament to the ingenuity and technical prowess of Soviet scientists and engineers. This colossal weapon, far larger than any bomb that had come before it, presented a unique set of challenges in its design and construction. The bomb was a three-stage thermonuclear device, a more sophisticated and powerful design compared to the simpler fission bombs. Its first stage involved a fission reaction similar to that of an atomic bomb. This initial fission explosion then triggered a secondary fusion reaction in the second stage, releasing a far greater amount of energy. Finally, the energy from the second stage ignited a third stage, leading to the massive thermonuclear explosion that gave the Tsar Bomba its devastating power. The sheer size of the Tsar Bomba posed significant logistical challenges. Weighing in at a staggering 27 tons, it was far too heavy to be carried by any existing bomber aircraft. Modifications had to be made to a specially selected Tu-95V bomber to accommodate the massive bomb. Even with these modifications, the bomber could only carry the bomb for a limited range and altitude, highlighting the engineering constraints involved in its deployment. The design and construction of the Tsar Bomba was a remarkable feat of engineering, pushing the boundaries of what was considered possible at the time. It was a testament to the dedication and ingenuity of the Soviet scientists and engineers involved in the project. However, this technological achievement came at a high price, both in terms of resources expended and the potential consequences of unleashing such destructive power upon the world. Section 4, The Science of Annihilation, How Tsar Bomba Worked. The Tsar Bomba derived its immense power from the principles of nuclear fusion, the same process that powers the sun. Understanding its destructive force requires a glimpse into the heart of this powerful reaction. Unlike fission, where atoms are split apart, fusion involves fusing lighter atoms, such as isotopes of hydrogen, deuterium and tritium, under immense heat and pressure to form heavier atoms like helium. This process releases an enormous amount of energy, far exceeding that of a fission reaction. In the case of the Tsar Bomba, the initial fission explosion created the extreme conditions necessary for fusion to occur. This triggered the second stage, where deuterium and tritium atoms fused, releasing a torrent of energy. This energy then ignited the third stage, further amplifying the explosive yield. The Tsar Bomba was designed to have a yield of 100 megatons, but this was later reduced to 50 megatons to limit the amount of radioactive fallout. This reduction was achieved by replacing the uranium tamper in the third stage with a lead tamper, which absorbed neutrons instead of undergoing fission. The science behind the Tsar Bomba is a complex interplay of physics and engineering. It highlights the immense energy that can be released from the atom, both for peaceful purposes and, as the Tsar Bomba tragically demonstrates, for unparalleled destruction. Section 5. The Day the Earth Trembled. The Test and Its Immediate Impact. October 30th, 1961, dawned like any other day on the remote Arctic archipelago of Novaya Zemlya. Unbeknownst to the world, this desolate landscape was about to become the epicenter of a man-made earthquake of unprecedented scale. At 11:32 a.m. Moscow time, the Tu-95V bomber, carrying the monstrous Tsar Bomba, reached its designated drop zone. The bomb, attached to a massive parachute to slow its descent and give the aircraft sufficient time to escape the blast radius, began its fateful plunge towards the Earth. The world held its breath. The detonation, when it came, was nothing short of apocalyptic. The explosion ripped through the Arctic sky, unleashing a blinding flash of light visible hundreds of miles away. A gigantic fireball, several kilometers wide, engulfed the test site, instantly vaporizing everything in its path. The shockwave from the blast raced outwards at supersonic speeds, flattening buildings, shattering windows, and knocking down trees over 700 kilometers away. The seismic shock from the explosion circled the Earth 3 times, a stark testament to the raw power unleashed. The mushroom cloud from the explosion, a terrifying spectacle of fire and smoke, soared to an altitude of over 60 kilometers, 8 times the height of Mount Everest. Its cap spread out to a diameter of nearly 100 kilometers, casting a vast shadow over the Arctic ice. The immediate impact of the Tsar Bomba explosion was terrifying in its scale and destructive power. It was a stark and sobering demonstration of the destructive potential of nuclear weapons, a power that could obliterate entire cities and leave behind a wasteland of unimaginable proportions. Section 6. A global echo fallout and environmental consequences. The detonation of the Tsar Bomba sent more than just shockwaves around the world. It unleashed a torrent of radioactive fallout, a toxic legacy that would linger in the environment for years to come. The explosion ejected millions of tons of irradiated material high into the atmosphere. This radioactive cloud, carried by prevailing winds, spread out over vast distances, depositing radioactive particles across the northern hemisphere. While the Soviet Union had chosen a remote location for the test, the fallout from such a massive explosion could not be contained. The immediate health effects of the fallout were relatively limited, given the remoteness of the test site. However, the long-term consequences of radioactive fallout, such as an increased risk of cancer and other health problems, are difficult to quantify. The environmental impact was equally significant. The explosion left behind a crater several kilometers wide and contaminated a vast area with radioactive material. The long-term ecological effects of such a massive release of radiation are still being studied. The Tsar Bomba test, while not directly causing widespread casualties, highlighted the global reach and devastating consequences of nuclear weapons. The fallout from the explosion served as a stark reminder that a nuclear war would have no winners, only victims. The environmental damage caused by the test further emphasized the need to prevent such catastrophic events in the future.